Biden hitting Trump on the trade deficit with China was very good because Trump ran in 2016 a lot on our trade deficit with China and talked about how our leaders were incompetent and that their incompetence led to the trade deficit with China. Well, Biden's right. That trade deficit has only gone up under Trump. Now, a lot of people are not going to believe this, and this was an obvious attack for Biden to make. So Biden should have had numbers prepared so he could cite the exact numbers and cite where he got those numbers from to bolster his argument. And if, Trump wants to go back and forth with him on that, if it gets picked up in the media, not your far right conservative media isn't going to tell the truth on that, but making that into a conversation after the debate would have been a win for Biden. So he should have came with more numbers on that because that is a key attack because that hits at the very core of what Trump ran on. That number right there, whatever that number is, that shows that what Trump fundamentally ran on, he failed to do. I thought Biden was strong on the no-fly zone with Xi Jinping, how he talks about how, Xi said you're not flying through here, Biden said we're doing it anyway. That both, fits into him selling himself as experienced, experience on foreign policy, a responsible leader, responsible public servant, however you want to define it. It also shows that, hey, Biden can be tough on China. He's been tough on China in the past. Now, do I think Biden's actually going to be tough on China? Hell no. Trump's way stronger on China. I still think Trump's weak on China. I think both of them are down here, and we need to be up here on China. Biden was the one who, voted for permanent national trade relations with China. So yes, he is weak on China, but using that example was a good example to use. And then Biden was strong, making the point, this is kind of your typical neoliberal point, but there is some truth in it that, hey, we're 25% of the economy, so for us to have power, for us to have our say in the world in the long term, for us to be able to balance against China, we do need to work with our allies. Now, Trump, as he said earlier in the debate, he's gotten those NATO allies to, commit more money, and that's something he should have brought up in that moment, but he didn't, but he did bring up that earlier in the debate. Trump, I thought, won on the debate over tariffs because, Biden's making the case, this is, taxpayer money, that went from, it was taxpayer money that went to the agriculture, the farmers, to make up for the tariffs. Because, that was increasing, prices for them, that was fucking up their business. But Trump was right, and he actually is telling the truth in that the taxpayer is China, because, the tariffs are charging China money, and then that money then got put to agriculture to help out the farmers. So Trump's right on that, and that gets back into his 2016 message, that more populist trade message, working class message. So he was good on that. But Biden, while I disagree with it, he was good, I think, to say, yeah, that's taxpayer money, because that counters the message of him being part of the radical left who just wants to tax people, and that fits into the message that he wants to sell to his suburban voters, which is at the core of his coalition. And then Biden was, I think this was the best moment of the debate for him, when he said, it's not about my family, it's not about Trump's family, it's about your family, and your family is hurting. And he spoke a little bit about the pain that the middle class families are going through, and then talked about how he was from Scranton, which, Pennsylvania is obviously a big swing state. So I think that was his best moment of the debate, and that's what I think he needs to just keep doing, bringing it back to COVID, bringing it back to the economy, bringing it back to the tough decisions that he talked about that the middle class, Americans are facing right now. But then I actually thought Trump had a good response, which was that, hey, you're trying to dodge the issue of China. You're weak on China. I thought that was good, and that does fit into what he should be trying to do, because, again, anytime he gets a chance to talk about China, he should do so. I think it would be more effective if throughout the rest of the campaign he actually effectively tied COVID to China, then Trump holding Biden's feet to the fire on being weak against China would be a lot more effective, because now that's tied into COVID. So Biden being weak on China is now part of the COVID issue. So if he would have put in the work earlier throughout the campaign to frame the dynamic in that way, to frame COVID as a national security issue with China, then Trump's attacks during this debate on Biden's relations with China would have been a lot more effective.